I'm Dave Freilich. Thanks for watching this Fox 7 Crime Watch digital exclusive, where we take a look back at recent crime stories making headlines in our area and across the state. The Austin Police Department has delayed providing an update on an officer-involved shooting that happened on November 7th. Police say a series of crimes led to the shootout with the suspect who was killed in North Austin. Here's more from Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis.
We still have very few details. We don't know the name or the age of the person who was shot, and we don't know the name of the officer or officers who fired their guns. Less than 5 hours before a scheduled press conference, the Austin Police Department notified the media it would be postponed. It was supposed to be about an officer-involved shooting from early Thursday morning. On Thursday at around 11 a.m., Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis provided a basic timeline of what happened.
This is an incident that began at a little after 3 a.m. this morning.
Chief Davis says a man went to the Starbucks in 4 Points in Northwest Austin and carjacked a car
From a woman that was waiting to go into work.
Chief Davis says a man then carjacked another vehicle from the HEB about half a mile away. Officers found that vehicle at the MAA Canyon Creek apartment complex off FM 620.
The subject had kicked in the door to a residence here.
Chief Davis says when he was walking out of the unit, officers asked him to stop.
He started to run, turned, pointed his weapon at the officers, fired a shot. Officers returned fire, and the subject was unfortunately pronounced deceased here.
During the press conference, media was told they couldn't ask questions, and more information would be provided later on.
We are going to have another presser probably tomorrow within 24 hours to give you more information.
Chief Davis even doubled down.
And again, I'll have more information tomorrow at a presser then.
It's been 5 days and a press conference has yet to happen. Austin Police says a press conference will happen within the 10 business day deadline, which also applies to when the body camera footage will be released. I asked APD this morning, a little after 9 o'clock, why the delay. I gave them a deadline of 2 o'clock. At 2:11, they responded saying that they were working on a statement for me. They have yet to send that statement over. Reporting from APD headquarters, Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
Family of a man shot to death by Austin police has filed a federal lawsuit against the city and 3 police officers. The deadly police shooting happened 2 years ago outside the man's home in South Austin. Fox 7 Austin's Jenna King spoke to the family, who say the lawsuit was their last resort.
Rajan was this quiet guy who would walk into the room and look around, and he would walk up to the person who needed something.
That's how loved ones describe 33-year-old Raj Munsingha. On the morning of November 15, 2022, the Austin Police Department received a call about a man pointing a rifle down the street. The call saying that Munsingha was armed with a firearm and yelling at an apparent intruder in his home. When officers arrived, they say they saw a man shooting into his home, prompting APD officer Daniel Sanchez to fire. The man Officer Sanchez hit and killed turned out to be Munsingha.
Draw the gun!
On the 2-year anniversary of his death, Munsingha's family filing a 32-page wrongful death lawsuit. The family says this was its last resort.
We have been unsuccessful in working with the city to influence policy. We have determined that a financial deterrent is the only thing that will bring about progress and force Austin to embrace policies for de-escalation and providing life-saving aid.
The lawsuit names the city of Austin and APD officers Daniel Sanchez, Stephen Market, and Luis Brito as defendants. It includes an unreasonable force claim, a failure to render aid claim, and blames the city for lack of training. It's looking for officers to prioritize de-escalation, even asking for a financial incentive for officers who successfully de-escalate situations.
All officers must get updated and regular training to use when someone needs life-saving aid. And lastly, ensure that officers are disciplined for failure to de-escalate and failure to render aid.
The message the family hopes to get across with the lawsuit.
Our hope is that the filing of today's lawsuit will get the city's attention, will get the APD's attention, and will rally support behind the idea that we deserve better as citizens of Austin than what the Munsingha family received.
Raj was the founder of Austin-based tech company InKind. The family says it pledges to use the funds from the lawsuit toward ensuring this does not happen to anyone else. That day still sticks with his family 2 years later.
The bullet holes are not there. The blood stains are off the cement, but every time I still walk up here, I see those things. You can't get them out of your mind.
APD has previously said it will continue to support Sanchez as this process moves forward. Officer Sanchez has been criminally indicted for this shooting. Sanchez is set to go to trial in March 2025. Sanchez's attorney has previously said his force was reasonable.
Mr. Moonsing was firing in a neighborhood. He was dangerous, and when he turned on Officer Sanchez had no other choice but to use deadly force to protect himself and the other people in the neighborhood.
Austin police have identified a man who was murdered as they continue to search for his killer. According to investigators, Shelby Wayne Cody was shot on November 7th, just before 6 p.m. near Caledad Drive and 290. The suspect took off and has not been identified. EMS took Cody to a hospital where he died about 30 minutes later. Now, if you have any information that could help with this case, you're asked to please call Austin Police. A man accused of shooting a cheerleader in an H-E-B parking lot in Elgin last year recently had his first court hearing. He's facing 2 felony charges. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis has more.
A lot of people asked me, did you think you were gonna die or anything like that? But for some reason, I just knew I wasn't.
It's been about a year and a half since Payton Washington was shot. She survived. In April 2023, she and 3 of her teammates were on their way home after an out-of-town cheer practice. They stopped at an H-E-B in Elgin to drop off one of the cheerleaders at her car. Turns out it wasn't her car, though.
We thought it was the exact same car.
It was Pedro Tello-Rodriguez's, and he fired multiple shots at the girls.
I literally turned my whole body, and that's why it hit me in the back. And then because it was just crazy, there was gunshots through the steering wheel, through her evil eye on the mirror. It's really, really, really insane.
Washington was shot 3 times. Court documents say Tello-Rodriguez drove off. After investigators reviewed surveillance footage, Tello-Rodriguez was identified. He was found at his home wearing the same thing from the shooting and was arrested. His attorney says he voluntarily surrendered and relinquished his weapon. It wasn't until August of this year he was indicted on felony charges of deadly conduct, discharging a weapon, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Wednesday morning was his first hearing in Bastrop County Court. Tello-Rodriguez's attorney says, quote, Mrs. Washington sustained her injuries after she entered Pedro's vehicle, both uninvited and unannounced. Mrs. Washington was texting and did not realize she entered the wrong vehicle. Pedro was understandably startled by the sudden intrusion by Mrs. Washington. Pedro believed he was about to be robbed. Pedro had been robbed at gunpoint previously.
My whole main goal has been focusing on my future. So he'll deal with what he did.
Tello-Rodriguez's attorney says Pedro continues to wish Mrs. Washington a full recovery. The attorney says, quote, we are optimistic this matter can be resolved to everyone's satisfaction very soon. Tello-Rodriguez's next hearing is set for February 12th. Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
San Marcos police are looking for a man accused of peeping into several homes and assaulting 2 women. These crimes happened within hours of each other at the Copper Beach apartments. One of the incidents was caught on camera. Fox 7 Austin's Tan Radford has more.
San Marcos police say they received several reports of a man targeting women at Copper Beach apartment.
We had a couple of calls that were associated with what people frequently call peeping toms, where the suspect was standing outside of a bottom floor apartment, peering inside through open windows where the curtains were not pulled.
According to police, a neighbor caught the suspect in action on camera on October 31st before he ran off.
The female students in this case were either dressed, partially undressed, etc.
The same man is also accused of sexually assaulting 2 women in the same home in the early morning hours of November 1st. Both women say they were sleeping with their boyfriends in separate rooms when they were inappropriately touched, and when they woke up, the suspect ran away. He left the residence through a patio door.
There's yet another report where we believe the same suspect unlawfully entered a different apartment.
Police say the doors were unlocked on the homes.
You have got to lock your apartment doors. I would also ask that, especially at nighttime, that you pull your blinds. These crimes are sexually motivated, so we need to pull our blinds and prevent that voyeurism aspect. And then if you are going to have to go outside, especially at night, I would ask that you try to find somebody to go with you.
The alleged sexual assault suspect is described as a white or Hispanic man, 6 feet tall, heavy set, with spiked or combed over hair. Last seen wearing a gray shirt, black shorts, and white shoes.
Because of the seriousness of the allegations, because the behavior seems to be growing worse, we want to get this out in front of our community and solicit anybody to come forward who may be a victim or who may have information regarding this.
San Marcos police are asking anyone with a surveillance camera in the area to review that footage for October 31st and November 1st. If you have any information, you're asked to please call police. Now, Fox 7 reached out to the apartment complex for comment. So far, we haven't heard back. An Austin mother is waiting for the man accused of her son's murder to go through the court system. Hays County's overcrowded jail is sending people awaiting trial to other counties. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis has that story.
With growth comes crime.
But Hays County Sheriff-elect Anthony Hippolito says the county jail doesn't have room for criminals.
We have to put these inmates somewhere, right?
So Hays County is shipping them off to other counties. Recently, Hays County inmates have been housed in Comal, Maverick, Blanco, and Haskell counties. Hays County entered a contract about 2 years ago with Haskell County, which requires 200 inmates to be outsourced there through 2025.
When you have a jail that's under renovation, we had, a staffing issues for quite some time. We have to have a certain inmate to staffing ratio.
The county spends about $100 a day per inmate for them to stay elsewhere.
I think we would be spending that money anyway if they were here, and we would be fully staffed. A big part of that is because of the salaries of each corrections officer, the uniforms we have to buy, the benefits that we have to spend, and the cost of housing them here as well.
But Hippolito says it's a priority to get as many inmates back to the county as possible.
Because of the amount of money we're spending, but more importantly, the efficiency of the justice system is slowed down.
A murder victim's mother is dealing with that. Julieta Serrano's son, 19-year-old Brian Serrano, was shot dead in southeast Austin in May 2023. The suspected killer is Irvin Coronado Palacio. In December, he was able to bond out of the Travis County Jail. In July, Coronado Palacio was arrested again for child trafficking and 2 counts of sexual assault of a 14-year-old in Hays County while he had an ankle monitor.
Now with the new charges, it just creates a bigger mess.
And Coronado Palacio is not in the Hays County Jail. He's in the Haskell County Jail. A Travis County judge warned Serrano the case is not going to go through the court system quickly.
I do really pray that he gets brought back here soon so we can get things moving.
Hippolito says Coronado Palacio will most likely need to be adjudicated in Hays County before he can go back to Travis County.
Probably 92% of our inmates right now are felonies, waiting on felony charges. But we're talking about 70% of those are still waiting to go to court. So it's not just a law enforcement thing, it's us working with the DA's office, it's us working with the judges to ensure that not only the victims are heard and have their day in court, but also these inmates have a right to a speedy trial.
Court records indicate Coronado Palacio is still being housed out of county. He's set to be arraigned next week in Hays County. His next hearing in Travis County is set for December 18th. Jail overcrowding doesn't seem to be an issue in Travis and Williamson counties. As of August, Travis County had space for about 200 more inmates, and as of September, Williamson County had room for an additional 400.
We've improved our recruiting, and we've improved our staffing there in the jail, and that has allowed us to start bringing some of those inmates back, which is a good sign.
Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin, CrimeWatch.
A murder suspect out of Alabama has been arrested in Central Texas. Benny Humphrey is now being held in the Williamson County Jail. Humphrey, who's from Montgomery, Alabama, is wanted on 2 counts of capital murder. U.S. Marshals arrested Humphrey in Hutto on County Road 110 near Paloma Lake. He'll be processed and extradited back to Alabama. Well, investigators believe somebody involved with a 36-year-old cold case murder in Oklahoma could be here in Central Texas. The children of the young mother who was killed want answers to close their case. Fox 7 Austin's Angela Shen has the story.
On June 4th, 1988, Kyra Allen Lowe, then 7, and her sister were dropped off at home by their grandmother in Comanche, Oklahoma. They raced to the door, but their mother wasn't answering, so Kyra's sister looked through the window.
She climbed up on top of there, and you could just see inside the room. And my mom was partially covered, and there was just blood everywhere.
Their mother, 25-year-old Mary Pewitt, was stabbed multiple times.
We knew that somebody had done something horrible to her. And we knew it had to be somebody pretty close to her.
Kyra and her family have lived with questions for decades.
So you don't know who to trust and who not to trust.
A recent development, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation confirming Mary may have had connections to Georgetown and Royce City, which is outside of Dallas.
We're pretty sure that there's somebody in Georgetown, without naming any names or anything, that knows what happened that evening. It's just we need them to come forward.
While details are scarce right now because of the investigation, Kyra says there's someone in Mary's life who has lived in Georgetown for the past decade. And in Royce City,
there's somebody there that we're very sure knows, if not what happened, participated in what happened that evening.
With information that will possibly shed some light.
I'm hopeful. It's something that I feel like I've always known. It gave me hope that they're closing in on something.
Something that could close this case 36 years after the murder.
She missed out on the part of having grandkids and our kids having a grandma. But she would have done anything for anybody. What I'm asking is somebody, please, I'm begging you to come forward and do what she would have done for you.
OSBI is offering a $10,000 reward for information on the case.
If you've heard any story about Mary or a murder in Oklahoma, to please take a look at the case.
Angela Shen, Fox 7 Austin News.
Thanks for watching the Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch digital exclusive. Our Crime Watch stories run each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News at 9. If you miss them, you can watch anytime on our Fox Local Connected TV app. It's free to download, and you can watch on multiple platforms like Roku and Apple TV. Just scroll down from the live player and look for the Crime Watch section. Now, for more on the stories highlighted in this episode, you can head to our website, fox7austin.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel.